Hi, this is Shannon Elliott with Teach Asana, and today we're going to talk about the Kasana crow pose and some of the common misalignments that we find in our students. So when we first start teaching crow pose, I always start with the placement of the hands. So the placement of the hands, just like you would in down dog, so we have this order of placement where we go 1, 2, and then lightly 3 and 4. So we spread the fingers wide, and you can even have them place their hands that way, where you go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they just get the idea of what it's like to press to the inner edges of the hands, because as people start coming in, one of the first things that they do is rotate to the outer edges of the hands, right? So just that reminder or that initial instruction, press inner edge of the hand down into the ground, okay? And then from here, we spread the knees wide, right? So as you spread the knees wide, and then you work getting the shoulders in as deep as you can, right? Once shoulders are in, you place the hands, again, inner edges of the hands down. Okay, so that's sort of step 1. And then we sort of shift to what happens as people start to come in, right? The first thing that they'll do in crow, right, is that they come from here and then they lift their butt way into the air. They put their knees down, right, and the butt's super high, and then they work on balancing. Okay, and so all of the weight is coming down and there's no integration there. You are doing a balance, but you're not actually integrated into your core. So as you come in here, right, the offering will be to hug the knees, right, to squeeze the knees into the arms so that you start to fill into the mid-back, puff up the kidneys, engage the core. Okay, and as you squeeze in, right, then we have to take the action of shifting forward. And you shift forward so much that the feet lift up. Okay, once the feet lift up, you keep squeezing the knees into the arms, right? Lift the heels, straighten the arms. So in crow, the kidneys are the highest point, not the butt. Okay? And then the head is another thing that we'll often see. You know, people come in, and wherever they're at, as they come in, they drop their head, right? And if you drop your head, the tendency is that's what's going to carry you forward. So back of the head lifted, stay looking towards the front of the mat. Right? And then for people, right, you see as I come in here, right, again, the tendency as we move in and the hips lift up, all this space starts to happen between the ribs and the legs. So you want to get your students to make themselves as tight as they can, like a tiny little ball, 1 unit, hug in, shift forward, right, feet lift up, and you come into your pose. Now people that can't get in that tight, this is where the block will come in handy. Right? For someone that has a limited range of motion to be able to really get in, the block raises the floor, and now they have the ability to come in from this way. So it's the same formula, right? You stay looking forward, back of the head lifted, down dog through the hands, inner edges down, squeeze in so the kidneys puff up, and then simply by shifting forward, the feet lift up, right? When people don't shift forward and they have that fear, this is when, right, we start trying to kick the feet up. So I often tell my students that think of it like snowboarding or skiing if they have this awareness. When you first start learning, your natural tendency as you go down a mountain is to pull away. Right? But in order to find balance when you're snowboarding, you have to lean into the mountain. Right? So it's just a physics thing. Right? As you come in, squeeze, look forward, shift forward, lean into it, the feet lift up. Squeeze in so much, right, that you're integrated into the pose. And then the other thing is just to be aware of where their knees show up. Right? And again, it's a range of motion thing initially. You just don't want your students coming in and balancing where their knees are more on the elbows or too close to the elbows, because then you're weight bearing on a joint. Right, so inner edges of the hands down, okay, squeeze in, back of the head lifted, kidneys full, Shift forward, lift the feet, feet to butt, straighten the arms. I hope you find this information helpful. Thank you for visiting Teach Asana. Namaste.